Alright, today we're going to be looking at this OutEquip Pro Summit 2, I believe. This is a 12 volt RV air conditioner. Yeah, there's a lot of just skeptics out there on the 12 volt units for RVs, but we're going to give it a try. I think it could work for us for our scenario very well. So we're going to give it a try, take a look here. Going to be looking at some of the things that other people have done, and then kind of some ideas that I got to make this install easier. And at the time of recording this, I think we paid about $950. We ordered this through Amazon from OutEquip. The shipping was about a week from order to delivery. Shipped FedEx. The box was in pretty good shape when we got it, but there's definitely some abuse. You can kind of see some marks here on the top, but it looks like those are gonna come off with the film. Also we had some marking, on the bezel piece here, just from transportation. I think most of it will wipe up, but overall it was in pretty good shape. So it was packed pretty well. All right, so one of the first issues that I was kind of looking at here was on the actual roof gasket. The one that it comes with is pretty it's pretty deformed and whatnot when it comes in the box. It does have some little rubber or hard foam like spacers, just to help you from kind of over tightening and over crushing the gasket, which is kind of neat. But I don't know, I just wasn't, just looking at it, seeing some other videos, it just wasn't a huge fan of the gasket. I just thought I was gonna do something a little different, but then when I got here and started looking at it, it actually was a little better than I thought it was going to be. So just kind of show you what I did here. So I actually took the gasket that it comes with. You actually have to cut it really, I think, at least once to make it fit. So you're going to have at least one seam cut. Now, in anticipation for this coming here, I went ahead and ordered a replacement RV air conditioner gasket. Now, one of the things that I found was, in comparing these two, is this universal one that I bought, the rubber is extremely hard and dense. So yes, it works. I've used it on one of our other air conditioner units that I've installed. Works great. But one of the things that I was looking at was the mounting on this thing. So typically your RV unit is mounted from each four corners. It has bolt hold downs. Now in this unit, all four of your bolts are actually almost right in the center. There's one there, and then same on the other side. So all of your pressure for your hold down is going to be basically centered. And I just didn't feel comfortable with that hard foam gasket getting compression on the front. I think the back would be okay because if you have quite a bit of weight back here from the unit. But I don't know, I just had some concerns about the front. So I went ahead and used the gasket that it comes with. Like I said, it's a little bit softer foam. I went ahead and I actually cut it to fit a little better. I went ahead and cut it. The one I ordered is actually spliced together and glued together as well, so I figured it should be fine. But I went ahead and cut it, and what I did was so it has these rubber spacers that help keep it from over tightening. So I went ahead and made it to where I have basically one at each corner, and then one in the center on each side, and then the three in the back. just kind of so I have even all the way around. Now it does come with an additional foam pad that's designed to go in the back here to support. Now with all these fins and stuff, I kind of decided to cut mine and kind of splice it up a little bit, just to avoid covering any vent holes, and also our roof is convexed, so it's got a pretty good arch in it. So I kind of opted to go one on each side to kind of distribute the weight, and then also I put one piece on each side of the unit. Now these foam blocks that they sent separate, they're actually a little bit lower profile. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell, but I kind of like that because your main gasket is actually going to compress. It's going to allow it to compress more before it touches down on those blocks. These blocks are just help distribute the weight and kind of make it just rest. I think rest well on the roof. Not have any tension or extra weight on one part of or another of the unit. So I think this orientation should work pretty well. I also opted to adhere with the double-sided tape that comes on this foam. I went ahead and stuck it to the AC unit. All the other RV units, that's how they're done. I think it should be just fine. I don't know. We'll see. We'll give it a go here. But yeah, the instructions really are pretty well, pretty good here. One of the things I'm not gonna do is the instructions do call to maybe add some Dicor or lap sealant, around your foam gasket. I'm not gonna do that because, like I said, these units are made for kind of a lot of different applications, and I think maybe if I had a flat roof, like a van roof or a box fan roof, where the water wasn't able to shed very well from the roof, I'd probably do this. But like I said, in my scenario, my roof is pretty convex, so side to side it has pretty good drop slope, and then also front, the unit is, the front of my RV does slope off pretty aggressively to the front, so I'm not really worried about any drainage or water pooling around the gasket or any of that stuff. So one of the other things pretty important on here is kind of positioning of the unit and gasket. They do have a pretty good diagram here that kind of breaks down the kind of dimensions, what to shoot for. And the opening, rough opening is 14 by 14. That's pretty close. Mine's like almost exactly that, maybe just a hair over. So one of the things that I did when positioning mine is I actually utilized that 2.5 inches from this inside front face of this gasket to this air channel here. So 2.5 inches, which they called for 2.36 to 3.15. Kind of one of the reasons I went with 2.5 inches is with this gasket, it allowed the back side of this gasket to go basically right up alongside these vent holes. So, it allows, I'm not overlapping those, so it allows for, good compression on the gasket. I'm not covering any of the vent holes. So I think that should work pretty well. But like I said, they do have a pretty good diagram on that. And one of the other things here is the power cable. So as you can see, I already routed mine through the inside. They have a couple different options. You can, obviously drill a hole through your roof and drop it through the roof that way. One of the things I did notice in this instruction manual here is my unit did vary a little bit. and I think it was kind of in the better. I don't know if maybe it was an updated design at some point or not, but this power cable actually in my unit comes out on this side here. And so that, like I said, that doesn't really matter. I think in my situation, kind of explain here a little bit further ahead, I think it actually benefits. But yeah, so some minor differences. They do break down. So this is kind of what I did here. Now this image they're giving you here, it actually shows the power coming on. I guess depends on how you were looking at the machine, but if you were looking at it at the front from the top here, the right side, whatever. So it has the power supply coming on the right side. Well, actually, on this unit, it's actually the control module boards on the other side. So that's where the power comes in and connects to the control module, and then an additional cable runs over to the AC compressor. So the power in is actually on the other side. So I actually ran, instead of coming through this side of the box, I actually went through the other side, and I kind of just followed. There's some additional control cables that run in there, so that's what I kind of followed them in that same spot. I was pretty impressed with the components in the thing. It actually, I'm pretty happy with the quality. I mean, everything just seems pretty well made. I mean, no complaints there. I didn't see any loose or parts that are just floating around in there. Just it was actually very, very clean. Very, it's a simple design, and I hoping it'll work well here. One of the things that is kind of an issue with, specifically with my install, is an RV roof. So my RV roof is it's about 6 inches thick. So on these mounting supports, there's kind of a couple issues that arise with that. And I've just seen some other videos where this faceplate, if you bolt those brackets to the ceiling on the inside, that faceplate cannot sit flush on the ceiling. And I'll kind of show that a little more here. It's just kind of good pictures here to kind of show in the actual instructions. But so we're going to kind of do like this picture. It actually kind of shows these recessed in there, and I've kind of already started an idea here that I think it's going to work well. And then now that I got the unit here, I can actually have to make a couple adjustments to that, but we'll jump to that, take a look. All right, so in the front of the fifth wheel here, we're gonna put this unit in this front room here, right? Kind of excuse the mess. We're doing a little bit of a remodel, but yeah. So this unit is only gonna cool this space here. Let me kind of step back here. I mean, it's pretty small. I mean, yeah, we do a little pop out, got a restroom, shower, right? But and then there'll be king size bed in here once this is all cleaned up here. But it's a pretty small space. So we're not, the goal of this unit is not to cool this entire. I mean, this is a 40-foot fifth wheel. So the design intent is not to cool this whole unit. It is to cool this room specifically. So one of the things kind of wanted to show you guys, it's kind of my thoughts on mounting this. So the trusses in here. So I had there was actually a board that connected a brace between these two trusses, and I actually cut in this 2x4 here and pulled that brace out for the bracing of this unit. So just to kind of show, these are the cross braces that come with the unit, And the idea is to clamp, up to there, and then allow this to be recessed from the ceiling line, so that that bezel can fit flush against the wall. Because the problem in this room is I'm 6'2", and the ceiling is barely that at this point. And so with the old unit that actually had knobs for the climate control, I'd actually hit my head, on the top of the knobs. So I want to keep this unit as low profile as possible. So I think being able to recess these brackets, and it'll save some work from, yes, I got to do a little bit of work in the beginning, but it's going to save me from creating a bezel to fill that gap that's going to be left around the bezel one if we don't do the recessed right here. One of the other issues I kind of wanted to look at real quick while we're right here is power. So we had 110 volt power here already for the old unit, and obviously it's not sufficient for what we need now. We need 12 volts. So one of the benefits to being right here, and one of the problems is getting adequate 12 volt wire to this unit. So one of the things that one of the hurdles I tried to cross here was not drilling holes in the roof. So I actually ran that power cable inside the AC unit, and it should come out inside this hole, and then I'll feed it through the ceiling here over to this wall. My goal is to drill a hole right here and actually come down the wall here. Now, it'll have to go in some sort of chase, obviously. Aesthetically, it's not going to be, super appeasing, but it's really the path of least resistance here. I'm thinking, I'm kind of hoping that I have enough of the cable that comes on the unit. It says it's about 12 feet, but it seems a little bit shorter than that. So like I said, we'll get it up there, get it mounted down, get my holes drilled. We'll run that cable through and see how far I can go down. Now, my plan, if the cables are a little short, is to come down the wall here. Now, the benefit to where my battery system is great here. So I'm going to run down the wall. Now, these 4-aught cables here actually go to my battery bank. Right now, we just got one lithium ion, 100 amp hour battery in there, but that'll eventually grow to several hundred amp hours here in the future. But so basically, I'm just gonna have to run down the wall, down through the hole down into the lower bay. We'll run down there and kind of show you what we're gonna connect to, ideally. But yeah, so I mean, my goal is to use the one power cable it comes with, go down the wall, and into our batteries setup there. All right, so underneath this compartment here, which that hole is where we were on top, so we're dropping right down into our kind of like connection point here. Basically, we got these distribution bus bars here that we'll connect to. You just got to get on the other side of that Victron Smart Shunt, and battery shut off to get this thing hooked up. This is kind of just a start here. Looking at doing like a full Victron system. And one of the benefits to doing this 12 volt unit is kind of helping minimize the requirements of the inverter. So hopefully we can run a little bit smaller inverter. I don't know. I think it's all 6 to 1, half a dozen to another kind of here. It's I think, I don't know. There's lots of ways to go and lots of opinions on that. So I'll just kind of leave that at that. But for now, this is what we're going to do. We have a small inverter. We do have a 110 volt fridge. So when we travel, it obviously runs on that. But we definitely kind of started this rewire on this thing, so it's set up for, obviously we ran the 4-aught cables for the battery bank. We're prepared to, make all those upgrades as they come, but they are expensive, and but they'll come in time. So we'll get those, as we go, and hopefully we can do some more videos on that stuff. It's pretty neat. Lots of cool stuff out there.
It's counting. And we are cutting it. We are cutting it for the roof for the air conditioning. We are cutting it good and set. Ooh, that's so awesome! That's so awesome. The conditioning. I love conditioning.
You have to create like an air dam to connect from the panel and the air ducts up into the actual AC unit. Because of the roof being thicker, we gotta, basically build an adapter to extend that length. So I kind of created this one out of some PVC I had laying around, used some of that bubble foam insulation stuff, a little bit of foil tape and a little bit of Gorilla Tape on the top just to hold it in place so I can shove it up in there and keep that insulation, in place as it goes up on there. That's one thing that's not really talked about. I think every application is going to be different, and I don't know. This is what I did. It's not pretty, but I think it's going to do the job. All right, so we got it all installed here. One of the problems I had was the screws that actually hold this plate, this face plate up. They were a little bit too short, and I gotta find something that's gonna work properly there. So right now I just got some plastic zip ties holding it up. It's pretty secure, but just to kind of test this thing out and see what it's gonna do. Just over 90 degrees in here. It's pretty warm, but we're gonna fire this thing up, drop it. There it goes, fan kicked on, compressor kicked on. It's pretty dang quiet. Let's just put it at 69 and see what it does. We'll get a little bit of time, and it should cool off this room here pretty quickly, but let's check it out. This unit is just whisper quiet. Even up here on the roof, I mean, the noise is just super minimal. Compared to the unit that was on here before, I mean, there's just no comparison on the noise level. So there's just a couple things I want to talk about on this unit that, just for some like clarification. So like I mentioned before, this 10,000 BTU unit is only, my goal with it is only to cool one small room in my fifth wheel. And I don't think it's just a go-to for everybody, but in our situation for cooling that bedroom, I think it's gonna work great. So we'll see what's to come with that, and yeah, looking forward to making another video and kind of a retouching on all that later on. Thank you.